In 1981, an old Victorian house on the outskirts of Rochester, New York, was consumed by darkness. Inside, the story of a young girl's demonic possession would unfold, a haunting that continues to this day. Let's get into it. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the lawn, a young girl stood motionless in the corner of an antique-filled room. It was apparent that she wasn't alone. But who or what was she talking to? The year was 1981, and this unsettling scene would soon become all too familiar to those who entered the home at 1517 North Clinton Street in Rochester, New York. For the homeowner, a single mother named Eileen, the presence of something evil was undeniable. She had tried everything to rid her home of the demonic entity, but nothing worked. The entity seemed to grow stronger with each passing day, whispering to her daughter, Emily, and tormenting her parents. What began as strange occurrences soon escalated into terrifying encounters, forever changing the lives of everyone involved. Now we will never know what really happened at this house. All we have are news clippings and old home videos, so let's take a closer look. The story begins with a seemingly normal family. Eileen and her two daughters, Emily and Katie, had moved into the old Victorian house at 1517 North Clinton Street, not long before the events of January 1981. On that fateful day, 6-year-old Emily was drawing pictures of demons and other worldly creatures on the walls, seemingly possessed by an evil spirit. As her mother watched in horror, Emily continued to stare blankly ahead, completely unresponsive to her. With mounting fear, Eileen reached out to Father Patrick J. Ryan, a local priest, for help. He arrived at the house and immediately noticed an unnatural coldness, sensing the presence of a dark force. Despite his attempts to perform an exorcism, the entity within Emily seemed to mock his efforts, taunting him with supernatural displays of power. As days turned into weeks, the situation worsened. The entity grew increasingly violent, causing Emily's behavior to become more erratic and dangerous. Her eyes, once filled with innocence, now seemed to hold a sinister glow, reflecting the darkness that consumed her. Doors slammed shut on their own, shaking the very foundation of the house. At one point, Eileen awoke in the middle of the night to find claw-like scratches marring her arms, as if left by the talons of some unseen creature. In another instance, her husband, David, stood in a dimly lit hallway, his face pale and etched with terror, claiming he had seen the ghastly specter of a man with no face emerging from the very walls themselves. On February 23, 1981, Father Ryan and 2 other priests returned to the house to perform another exorcism. With each attempt, the entity's presence grew stronger, making itself known through the movement of crucifixes and other religious artifacts. The air grew heavy with tension as the battle between good and evil reached a fever pitch. Later that evening, after the exorcism, Emily, who had been silent for most of the day, suddenly screamed in a voice that was not her own. It was deep, distorted, and filled with an otherworldly echo. The sound reverberated through the house, shaking the very walls and leaving those who heard it shaken to their core. Then, as if possessed by a supernatural strength, Emily lunged forward, knocking over a nearby chair and sending it crashing to the floor. Her eyes, now glowing with an eerie red light, seemed to pierce the darkness, revealing the true depths of the demonic force that had taken control of her. With growing desperation, Eileen and her husband contacted Father Albert Hughes, a well-known exorcist, who had experience dealing with cases of demonic possession. Upon arriving at the house, Hughes found the family in a state of utter chaos. The entity continued to taunt the priests, moving objects on its own and causing light bulbs to burst one by one until every room was plunged into darkness. As the struggle between the priests and the entity intensified, the house became a battleground. bloody symbols of the demon world began appearing on the walls, each marking a new level of possession. On March 2nd, 1981, the final exorcism took place. But even as Father Hughes attempted to banish the demon, it fought back, using Emily as a vessel to mock and torment those gathered there. The climax of the battle between good and evil unfolded before their eyes, leaving them forever changed by the horrors they witnessed. What happened next is unknown. The house was abandoned, and both Emily and her mother disappeared. Some say they were taken by social services, and others claim the mother and daughter ran away. As the years went on, the house fell into disrepair, becoming a symbol of the terrifying events that transpired within its walls. To this day, the house stands as a reminder of the supernatural horrors that unfolded there. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and comment if you enjoyed. Check out our other content, and have a great day.